Welcome to the Shabby And Man podcast. We're partners, parents, podcasters, broadcasters,
and everything else in between. Namaskar. Oh, America, what have you done? That's right, Donald J. Trump is the new president-elect. Yes, America, you voted him in.
Question.
What's the question?
What does J stand for?
Jason? Jeremy?
Joseph?
Jahangir?
Jahangir, I doubt it. But does anyone know or even care?
I think it's John, actually.
Donald John Trump.
Yeah, Donald J. Trump. Yes, you voted him in. Actually, I'm saying it like it's a bad thing, but I think that,
It's a very bad thing.
No, I watch TV, and virtually every Indian, we have a lot of Desi followers in America, virtually most of them voted for Trump. They seem to love him there.
Yeah.
Yes, America, you love him, I realize. Now, obviously, sitting in a different country, it seems insane that Donald Trump is the president of America. But I guess if you're in America and you're watching the borders, illegal immigrants pouring in, no borders, the price of an egg being $1, inflation going through the roof, the economy on its knees, I can understand.
That's virtually the entire world. It's not just America.
I know, but they're saying that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are the Dodge, DOGE.
You mean the dodgy ones?
No, the Department of Government Efficiency. It was announced today.
So are they
right on the ball. They're going to... You remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter?
Yeah.
He sacked, like 80% of the staff and said, I'll run it on 20%, which he did, by the way. But that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's why most people left Twitter.
They're going to cut government efficiency.
They're going to cut efficiency.
They're going to make it more efficient.
Yeah, you're going to cut inefficiency.
Yeah. Good job, I don't have that job.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but saying that Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't know. I mean, he's a clever guy, no doubt. But I don't know if I would have voted for him.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's actually...
Shall we move on, or shall we talk a bit more about
No, let's talk about just how terrible this is, for people who care about climate, people who care about the war in Ukraine and Gaza, people who care about migrants, people who care about arguably the most important politician, the most influential politician in the world. America sets the tone for the rest of the world to follow in political terms, in social terms, in aid, in military terms, in every way. For that nation to be led by someone who is so unstatesmanlike, who is so known to say things which you would never expect a politician to say, because it's not just about having the money, it is about having intelligence and acumen, which I'm sure he does, but not as a politician. As a businessman, I'm sure he does. Nobody is knocking that.
It doesn't matter. People liked the way. They say in the 4 years, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Did you say years?
In the 4 years that he was president, they're saying that things were much better than they are right now in the 4 years.
Yeah, I'm not the greatest fan of Joe Biden either. I felt that he was singularly uncharismatic as a politician. But then when it comes to political ideology and the way Donald Trump has, I think, drawn a wedge between communities in America, within America, and you can very clearly see he's a rich man who just wants to make the rich even richer, and he just wants to keep the poor immigrants, on their knees.
Every president has been a rich man. That's no justification.
No, come on. Not every president in every country has the kind of wealth that he has. There's a slight difference. He's an extremely wealthy man.
If you're running for president in America,
you need to be wealthy. You don't need to be Donald Trump wealthy.
You have to be very wealthy, and it's on donations. By the way, Kamala Harris got far more donations and money than Donald Trump got.
Yeah, so but that's another angle.
Goes out the window.
No, what theory of mine? My theory is that he's a man who is unfit to be president of America. I'm not knocking him for anything else, but he's known to say things that stir up trouble. He's known to come across as a man who doesn't belong to the people or a party. It's as though he's one man who's saying, I wake up and make the rules. Now, it's my way or the highway.
No, I agree with you. I'm not a Trump fan either. But
why do you always sit on the fence with this?
I'm saying, but the economy
has nosedived. Okay,
we'll do better with him as president.
Why?
Because he has policies. The Biden administration showed that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing and have no policies.
Yeah, but that's really sad. If the Democrats have allowed their party to come to that, then yes, that is something to be mourned. But I just feel that I don't mind the Republicans winning. I just feel that Donald Trump personally stands for so much that is wrong in the world and so much that needs to change. Come on, I forgot one main key area. It's very, very bad news if you belong to the LGBTQAI community. How can you, going forward in this world, in this day and age, how can you vote for something who is planning to undo everything that to most sane people comes across as progress? He's against abortion. He's against the gay community. He's against migrants coming in. He's all for building walls all over America. How can you justify that in any... He's a complete climate change denier. You know, what will it take for him to believe that any sane person...
You're not sitting on the fence.
I'm absolutely not sitting on the fence.
What about the poor people who don't drive a Tesla?
Yeah, I doubt if they still have legal rights in America if you don't have a Tesla. Well, Elon Musk, as some people very rightly pointed out, he is the first lady from, all accounts. And God alone knows where Donald Trump will leave not just America but the world in 4 years' time. All I can say is thank heavens the American Constitution does not allow one person to run for more than 2 terms, which is not the case in the UK.
Well,
thank heavens. This is the last 4 years of the comedy show.
Let's not change the topic. We're doing politics.
Let's talk about the one good thing about Donald Trump coming into power. I think stand-up comics are going to have a whale of a time all over the world.
They've had a whale of a time with Joe Biden as well. No. So that's not the thing.
No, but this man, Joe Biden again, is a bit like sitting on the fence. He's criticized for very banal things.
Well, Donald Trump has beaten 2 women who could have become Madam Presidents: Hillary Clinton and now Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Well, that's another angle to the story, because many people are saying that even if voters weren't exactly pro-Trump, many people were not comfortable with the idea of America A, having its first female president, and B, that to someone of
half Indian, half
Jamaican, right? So someone from an ethnic background, they just couldn't digest that.
But the second lady of America now, is Indian, Usha Vance, or I forgot what her proper name, her maiden name was.
She's Telugu.
Usha Chilukuri or something?
Something like that, yeah.
A very clever girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, attorney, I think.
Harvard,
they met
Cambridge.
They met in
Yale, okay.
J.D. Vance and her met in Yale, and then, you're right, she went to Cambridge. Clare College, Cambridge, by the way.
Well, if her husband is Donald Trump's running mate, then I'm questioning her intelligence.
Do you want to tell people where we're going tomorrow?
Where are we going?
Cambridge.
Not tomorrow, the day after.
Oh, the day after.
Yes.
Oh, you're very pickety.
No, because tomorrow also we're going somewhere. That's why I was just wondering why you wanted to suddenly talk about where we're going tomorrow. We are going to Cambridge, yes. I think it's just dreadful news for the whole world. Donald Trump back in power.
Well, I don't know.
But let's see what happens.
I would have preferred the other candidate, but let's see. Maybe things will get better in America. There must be a reason why people in America have voted overwhelmingly.
Because A, they are famously known to not travel the world and stay within America and stay within a balloon and a bubble, not knowing about the world outside. And B, because of many other external factors, like you said, pointed out, Joe Biden wasn't the best of leaders. Also the fact that they did not want Kamala Harris as the first woman president from an ethnic background. So these things worked in Donald Trump's favor.
Well, good job. You're not going to America anytime soon, isn't it?
No, I don't plan to. Absolutely not. Sadly, no one can prevent Donald Trump from coming to his own golf course in Scotland, and I'm sure he's going to swing by London. So we shall still have to put up with all the jokes and whatever else that's going to follow. But that's it. 4 more years of Trump. Anything else? This wasn't the only winner that you were waiting to hear. The whole world was waiting with bated breath for the American president-elect to be announced. And in the literary world, actually, was it last night or the night before?
It was last night.
Last night.
You're getting your days mixed up now?
I am really getting it mixed up now. It was a big night last night. You were a bit excited about it.
It was the Booker Prize. For those that don't know, the Booker Prize is probably the biggest prize in fiction in the United Kingdom.
You mean there might be people who are listening to this podcast and they don't know what the Booker Prize is? I doubt it.
Going by your theory,
Yes.
that you're equating people who like Trump, and then you're talking about Booker Prize. Do you think the Venn diagram kind of intersects?
It does, because Trump is politics, world politics, American politics. We're not just talking about people of merit. We're just talking of people who are making the news.
Well, do you think the Booker Prize, the winner, is chosen on merit or not?
I'm sure it is.
So we are talking about people on
convinced.
merit as well. We are talking about meritocracy.
Yeah, not in case of American politics. So who won the Booker Prize? Tell us then.
You're making me laugh today. What about the Conservative Party in England just voted? They
Yeah.
voted for a black woman.
Yes.
Yeah, give me a bit of luck. Are you a fan of hers? She's quite outspoken. She's very Trump-like. I think she supports Trump. What do you think about
Well, the Conservatives are not in power, thank heavens. So it's not going to matter so much.
Okay, let's get back to the Booker Prize again.
Yes.
So
who won it? Why was it special this year?
It was special this year because it was won by a British woman called Samantha Harvey, and the book is called Orbital. So all of you who are wondering who won the Booker Prize, it's Orbital, and it's quite a thin book. So would it be a novel or a novella? I'm not quite sure. It's about I think it's 138 pages, 136 pages. And what's so interesting, it's set in the International Space Station.
Yeah.
And it's fiction.
So is she like an astronaut or someone who worked in NASA, or she
This
just
is
researched
the
her
fifth-
stuff?
This is the fifth book. So, other books are totally different. So the story basically is that there are 6 astronauts stuck at the
Space station.
International
Yeah.
Space Station.
I wonder if I'm sure she must have been inspired by the recent story, right? Where
And it's one day. No, this was written last year. It takes a year for the Booker Prize to be won.
No, I know, but that story has been doing the rounds for about 2 years, where these astronauts have been stuck in space.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Elon Musk.
No, of course not.
And his SpaceX.
No.
So it's 6 astronauts stuck in the space station for a story of about one day. But in that one day, when you're there, you experience 16 sunsets, 16 sunrises, which is what makes that novel so riveting. So anyway, that's about that. Interested in it?
I think it sounds
Are
quite
you into
interesting.
space? Are you into space?
I'm not really into space fiction, science
Because
fiction.
Dune is coming out. Dune Part 2 is coming out any day.
Yeah, I'm not into science fiction, but it sounds interesting
And
only
I read
because.
the actual. Is it Frank Herbert who wrote Dune many
idea.
years ago? I read the book when I was a teenager. I haven't seen the new movie. I've seen the movie which got Sting in the 80s, but they made a new one with that Timothy I can never say his name.
Chamonix.
Timothy
Chamonix?
and,
Something like that.
and Zendaya.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
So
again.
Orbital it is.
Orbital.
And
Talking about art and culture, you invited
Yeah.
a special guest to see a very important exhibition in the V&A. Now, the V&A, if anyone doesn't know, is the Victoria and Albert Museum, an iconic British museum in the heart of London. And what was it about? Would you like to tell everyone?
it was about the Mughals. It was about art, architecture, and opulence in Mughal times. Essentially, I think concentrating on 150 years. Jahangir, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, that kind of that time frame.
I mean, what was it? Was it like their clothes?
And
or-
it was a mix of everything, really. It had their wine glasses, their jewelry, their daggers, and the scabbard, and there was clothes, and there were exquisitely woven carpets, and there were manuscripts, original manuscripts from 450 years ago, and paintings, and a rich tapestry of
like
what
those miniature
made
paintings you see in every
paintings.
house.
Yeah.
Even we've got one or two of those.
So that's what actually makes it so special, that we see thousands of reprints, and we've got them, like I said, it's virtually on everyone. Anyone who's into that kind of Mughal art has at least some of them, but what was on display was obviously originals from 400 years ago, and these had all been. So the exhibition was made possible in collaboration with many esteemed galleries around the world, some in the Middle East, some in Europe, some of course from V&A's personal collection, and it was beautifully curated. I got the chance to chit-chat with the lady who curated the exhibition as well, and obviously it must have taken them a long time, and everything that was on display was about 450 years old. So you can only imagine how thrilled historians were to be able to see, original wine goblets and daggers and carpets and armory and other bits and pieces. And they'd set it in context, of course, and it was brilliantly explained why they had picked those pieces, what it meant to these rulers, what a bloody battle of succession had been fought before and after these people came into power, what was happening around the world in other parts of the world while the Mughals dominated the Indian subcontinent, how they were able to influence the way religion developed, how they left a very, very strong mark on the architecture of the time, which, as someone who's grown up in Delhi, me, and as the two of us have lived in Delhi long enough, Delhi was one of their main cities, and that's where you see a lot of, so there were a lot of these marble friezes and marble stonework, again, original bits and pieces, chunks that had perhaps fallen off and had been preserved by museums. They were on display as well.
I have been very lucky, privileged to have lived in a village which was the ruins of some medieval fort.
Yeah.
Surrounding it, and I lived bang in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And at night when they lighted up,
it was quite spectacular.
Wonderful.
So Delhi is, of course, full of art and architecture from Mughal times, as is virtually all of North India. And it was amazing. I think the V&A does nothing in half measures. The way it was lit, the way the context was set, the ambience, specifically the stuff that they had chosen, it really brought history alive for me. And I grew up in India, so this was all a part of our text. And when you read something from an exam perspective, it somehow never ever sounds interesting, because then you're trying to mug up facts. Oh, he was born in this year, he died in this year, what happened in that battle, who was his granddaughter, why was there a war of succession? That's when it feels stressful. But when you're allowed to explore history on your own terms and deep dive into the areas that interest you, and you're told a story in such a beautiful way where there's the original things from those times laid bare in front of you, I think it's absolutely magical.
Well, the V&A is doing some great exhibitions. Recently it did one on David Bowie.
Yeah.
It did that Gabrielle Chanel, or Coco Chanel as she's better known as.
Yeah. Then they did one on saris, the hundreds years of the evolution of the sari.
I don't think that was V&A.
Was it not?
No. That was a design museum.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, but you're right, the V&A is a world-class museum, and like I said, a lot of planning, a lot of thought goes into whatever they kind of, make a ticketed exhibition, because most of the V&A, like most exhibitions in the UK, most museums in the UK, is free.
I know, but the ones that you want to go and see, like you want to go and see Van Gogh,
yeah, of course they will be ticketed.
And all, they're always ticketed.
They're always ticketed, absolutely. Was it the British Museum that brought Pompeii? Must have been 10 years ago.
Yes.
10 years ago.
They brought it a few times.
Quite a few times. Again, and each time, it doesn't matter how steep the ticket is, it is a sellout exhibition. Only because, if you're unable to travel to Italy and actually go and see Pompeii, then the way they kind of give you the history is absolutely fascinating. Do you have to be a history buff to start with, or would it interest?
It's very interesting when the volcano erupts and the people are just frozen there in the lava.
Yeah, and a lot of it got preserved. The sad thing was that because they kind of burned to death within a matter of seconds, their bodies were preserved the way they were in the lava.
I think that's one of the great institutions of British institutions, that museums are free. And as we live in London, we're lucky enough to have quite a few wonderful museums at our doorstep.
Yeah.
Really on our doorstep.
Yeah.
But talking of great institutions, you also, I didn't go this time, you went to see the poppy fields at the Tower of London.
Yeah, I did.
Poppy fields it's called.
Yeah.
Where they, it's basically a remembrance to the great wars, with World War I and World War II.
Yeah, mainly World War One.
Those
actually.
that sacrificed their lives.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the incident? This is also ticketed, isn't it?
It is a ticketed event. And
what exactly happens there?
It is actually an immersive show. It is a multimedia, 3D multimedia immersive exhibition. So when you walk in, there are installations. There's Eddie Redmayne reading out some very moving bits of poetry about war and war heroes. There's good and bad. The bad thing is, of course, the sad loss of so many lives. But the good thing is that I think it inspired further generations. It showed them the futility of war. It showed them the extent of human courage and resilience. It showed them, and I think a lot of very poignant literature, poetry and prose came out of the two wars, where people spoke very, very movingly and beautifully about either their personal loss or in general the loss of a soldier who is sent to battle, and what it must have meant for his family to lose him, for his friends to lose him, because every soldier is also someone's brother, someone's son, someone's father, someone's husband. And so this installation had a bit of poetry being read out. It had many, many visuals from the time when London was bombed, when England was bombed, when they had posters of "Your King and Country needs you," need you, and all those very iconic things that you relate to the world wars, especially the First World War. So it had a mix of everything, and you were also given access to the crown jewels, by the way. So
you saw the Kohinoor?
I saw the Kohinoor, yeah. I've seen it before, many years before.
Yes.
But I saw it again, and I have to say, clearly, Indian royalty was really into bling, while all the other crowns, because and it was quite exciting to see, because when King Charles ascended the throne, and when we saw all the scepter and the orb and the ceremonial crown, and when he was anointed with holy oil and all of those things, which nobody had seen in the last 60 years, 70 years that his mum was on the throne. So because we saw it on telly as recently as last year, it was wonderful to see it, actually, even though behind a glass, but wonderful to see it.
I think I call her Queen Consort, but she's known as Queen Camilla now.
Yeah.
I think she opted not to wear the Kohinoor.
She did, because I believe the Kohinoor was originally in the crown of the Queen Mother. So the Queen's the Queen's mum had the Kohinoor put in her crown. But you can see, like I said, it's not just the one crown that they wear at the time of the coronation. There are about 8-9 different crowns that different monarchs have worn at different important occasions. And the ones with the biggest stones and the most amount of over-the-top bling are invariably the one that has the Kohinoor. Then there's another one which says the Black Prince Dilip Singh's crown, which is again so bling, it's not funny. But of course it looks stunningly beautiful.
I haven't seen the Black Prince movie. There's a movie out, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Which stars one of your fellow presenters.
Sataj. No, it doesn't.
Oh, one of your fellow
yes, it does. You're right. He plays a nasty character. He plays it really well. But yeah, the Black Prince had Satinder Sartaaj, I think, make his movie debut. And so that's what it was. Poppy Fields at the Tower of London was a 3D immersive installation, and it had projections, it had poetry being read out. One very, very moving thing was, almost on a constant roll, you had the names of all the soldiers who died in these two wars scroll past you on one of the walls of the Tower of London.
Don't forget,
which was making
1 million Asian soldiers sacrificed their life as well.
Yeah, that's true. So it was actually a homage to all those who laid down their lives in those two wars. And there were people clearly very, very old who were getting very emotional and teary-eyed because they might have seen their fathers or their grandfathers or their husbands' names on that. Husbands, I doubt, but fathers or grandfathers' names, because relatives' names. That's what it was. And well, that's it then. So we've ended up actually talking about many, many interesting things. We started out with Donald Trump, and we ended up with Poppy Fields.
Yeah, well, I'm sure this podcast will probably get us banned in America.
Why are you not allowed to air your views politely but firmly and truthfully? Do you have to pretend to like anybody who's been voted in as the most powerful man in the world? We shall find out.
I like to sit on the fence.
Yeah, of course you do.
Till next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye.